Good morning, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought, number 1102, 1102. 1102. It's a Monday. I do miscellaneous Mondays. Miscellaneous Mondays these days have been on meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Now that's a handful. What we say is M.M. Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius Meditations. Marcus Aurelius. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about his influences because he talks about how people influenced him and what qualities they have and what they say that helps him uh, re, um, reflect on life. And let me see if I can get this camera to agree with the other camera a little. Um, and so here, he had his brother. We went up to number 14. Now we've got numbers 16 to 15 to 17. Okay, so Maximus showed him self-control and resistance to distractions. Now that's a very interesting thing. I go like this, you're distracted. I say you're 4 feet tall. Yeah, you know. Anyway, self-control and resistance to distractions. Optimism in adversity, especially illness. Yeah, never know. I knew a man who, on his dying day, he was in bed in the hospital. It had been he had been really sick. It was Tom. And we all kind of knew this was going to be his last stint. And I was visiting him, and I was taking a photo of him. I said, would you mind if I took a photo of you? He goes, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, it'd be a good before and after. You never know. That's what he said. And this was the day he passed at 4 a.m. I was there at 7 p.m. And the optimism, he was there like that all the time. It was very, very good. Maximus helps Marcus Aurelius with a personality in balance, dignity, and grace together. Doing your job without whining. Yeah. Whine, 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 whine. No. Other people's certainty that what he said was what he thought and what he did was done without malice. Never taken aback or apprehensive, neither rash nor hesitant or bewildered or at a loss. Not obsequious, but not aggressive or paranoid either. Generosity, charity, honesty. The sense he gave of staying on the path rather than being kept on it. That no one could have ever felt patronized by him or in a position to patronize him. A sense of humor. That's hard to reflect onto another person. Can you imagine a person like that? And then he says, my adopted father, that's number 16, compassion, unwavering adherence. Oh, here's something. I was thinking, I simply can't see. Thanks, Sherry. I'm beginning to get disconnected from my glasses, which is the kind of thing I think you want to see, right? I do. My adopted father, compassion, unwavering adherence to decisions once he had reached them, indifference to superficial honors like a ribbon, hard work, persistence. Listening to anyone who could contribute to the public good. His dogged determination to treat people as they deserved. A sense of when to push and when to back off. Putting a stop to the pursuit of boys. His altruism. I think in those days in Rome, boys were considered a sex object as well to men. And men married young people. Adult men in their 30s would marry very young people in their 12s, and girls and boys. So there were some that considered this to be a sin. And he says that his adopted father put a stop to the pursuit of boys, putting a stop to the pursuit of boys. His altruism, that's selflessness, not expecting his friends to keep him entertained at dinner or to travel with him unless they wanted to. And anyone who had to stay behind to take care of something always found him the same when he returned. His searching questions at meetings, a kind of single-mindedness, almost never content with first impressions or breaking off the discussion prematurely. His constancy to friends, never getting fed up with them or playing favorites. Self-reliance, always, and cheerfulness. And this is one man. It's about this much on it. Um, and his advanced planning well in advance, and his discreet attention to even minor things. He would have been a good movie director. His restrictions on acclamations and all attempts to flatter him, his constant devotion to the empire's needs, his stewardship of the treasury, his willingness to take responsibility and blame for both, his attitude to the gods, no superstitiousness, and his attitude to men, no demagoguery, no currying favor, no pandering, always sober, always steady, and never vulgar or a prey to fads. The way he handled the material comforts that fortune had supplied him in such abundance without arrogance and without apology. If they were there, he took advantage of them. If not, he didn't miss them. No one ever called him glib or shameless or pedantic. They saw him for what he was, a man tested by life, accomplished, unswayed by flattery, qualified to govern both himself and them. His respect for people who practiced philosophy, at least those who were sincere about it, but without denigrating the others or listening to them. His ability to feel at ease with people and to put them at their ease without being pushy. His willingness to take adequate care of himself, not a hypochondriac or obsessed with his appearance, but not ignoring things either, with the result that he hardly ever needed medical attention or drugs of any sort of or any sort of salve or ointment. This in particular, his willingness to yield the floor. Okay, not needing salve or ointment. I needed a salve or ointment right on my thigh the other day because I got a blister on it, which, the doctor said later that it was probably just an infected scratch from a cat. And I'm thinking, something, I think it was probably inside my clothing. It probably caught on something. A little scab probably caught on something and tore it and then infected it. Probably that. Anyway, so salve or ointment. If you can live your life to never need a salve or ointment, it means you're never going to get scratched. You're never going to get a paper cut. They didn't have paper in those days. They had papyrus. But you know what I mean. This, in particular, his willingness to yield the floor to experts in oratory, law, psychology, whatever, and to support them energetically so that each of them could fulfill his potential. That he respected tradition without needing to constantly congratulate himself for safeguarding our traditional values. SOTV. Not prone to go off on tangents or pulled in all directions, but sticking with the same old places and the same old things. Now that takes a lot of mental discipline. It takes discipline to do that. Seriously. You know that, right? Because we're a society that goes off on tangents now with the iPhones and everything. Not iPhones, but you know. Anyway, the way he could have one of his migraines and then go on right back to what he was doing, fresh and at the top of his game. That he had so few secrets, only state secrets, in fact, and not all that many of those. The way he kept public actions within reasonable bounds, games, building projects, distributions of money, and so on, because he looked to what needed doing and not the credit to be gained from doing it. Not the credit to gain from doing it. No bathing at strange hours, no self-indulgent building projects, no concern for food or the cut and color of his clothes or having attractive slaves, the robe from his farm at Lorium, most of the things at Lanuvium, the way he accepted the customs agent's apology at Tusculum, etc. He never exhibited rudeness, lost control of himself, or turned violent. No one ever saw him sweat. Everything was to be approached logically and with due consideration in a calm and orderly fashion, but decisively and with no loose ends. Last paragraph. You could have said of him, as they say of Socrates, that he knew how to enjoy and abstain from things that most people find it hard to abstain from and all too easy to enjoy. Strength, perseverance, self-control in both areas, the mark of a soul in readiness, indomitable. Maximus's illness. Okay, we're going to leave it at that and then give you the gods next Monday. The gods was only 2 pages. This was, how many pages was this? This was 1, 2, 3, 3 pages. That's a lot of pages. But you know that what it's telling you is how to, in Chinese we call it 做人, which is how to be a person, how to do humanity, how to make humanity happen in your life. And those are very interesting values to keep, I think. To see somebody else's values like that and to see how they fit that person's molds, that person's society at that time, it's fascinating. And Gregory Hayes is the translator to this work of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Okay, old Kinderheck.